how can you be connected to your true self?
We have nice ideas from somewhere, but then the mind is also somehow trained to stay in the safe line. It's not plannable anymore. You can't plan your profits 5 or 10 years ahead. People are getting so stressed from work, and not only at work, but also at home. And this is how people get sick. And what does it mean to be stressed? People nowadays, they don't even have time anymore to breathe into the belly. When people tell me, I have digestion problems, the first question I ask them is, so do you breathe deeply into the belly? I was so sad and I was crying so much. And of course, I was always hiding, right? Because people ask, why do you cry? Don't cry. This life is too beautiful for me to gift it. It's just a collection of experiences. What else is it for? What else is it for if not to enjoy? Huh?
My purpose is to help professionals connect with themselves and with others. Therefore, by the end of this episode, I would love to know, do you feel more connected? I'm very happy. I'm very happy to have you on the Core Impact podcast. And
thank you for having me.
Thank you. And for everyone who's listening, especially for those who love to have clear structure and questions from the beginning until the end. Today, we're gonna experiment. We will, of course, focus on mental health at work. We will still talk about inner leadership, inclusive leadership, the future of work. Was gonna be much more like friends talk with someone who's living what they are talking about, and it's not gonna be only about what we're gonna talk about, but try to feel the energy. So I hope that you will get inspired and enjoy this podcast. Now, Natalie, the first question that came to my mind, and as I said, I didn't write questions for the first time, but the first question that came to my mind, I'm curious to know from you. Can you tell us, who are you without saying any label? Either without telling us about your country, without telling us about your name, your gender, your age, your job title. If you take all these labels away, who are you?
I love that question. So, and also, to be honest, I love to ask these questions to other people. So, giving it a try. I'm a person that is giving her best to enjoy this life fully in everything I do. If it's work, with family, friends, being. So this is actually quite short answer, but this is, I would say, the essence of the person I am, or try to be at least. And I said I also really love to ask this question to other people because I already mentioned essence. I love to sense and listen also from other people the essence. What's your essence? So who are you without all these labels? And I also like to ask this question, who are you if you don't have anything, if you move to another country, if you don't know anybody, if you haven't done anything before? Who are you? That's so... I said the essence that we carry into this world, no matter where we were born, what we do, where we were raised, no matter what job we do, no matter in which family we grew up, right? So, because as you say, these are all labels, and this is all something that is like, how can you say, like pulled up onto us, no? So but the question of the essence of the I also like it to call the soul or the spirit that you carry.
And I like here to connect between this and the world, the work world, let's say, or the workplace. And especially, I know that you have many friends who are working, for example, in Germany, and let's say the work culture is to some extent defines people with their job title. So I'm curious, did you have any conversation with friends lately that you like to share? And how do you see this shift? Maybe you know someone who shifted their mindset, or you had some conversations where you saw people who are trying to go in this process.
Well, yes. So to be honest, I'm in like a very different friend circles, let's say it like that. And for example, my now as I'm back in Germany currently, I meet up a lot with my school friends. So some of them I already know since primary school. And coming back to Germany, I would say, most of the people here have like more of that traditional lifestyle or either like even life path, right? So you go to kindergarten, you go to school, then after school you go to university, and after university you do your studies. Here in Germany, especially, also dual track. This is the super fancy thing to do. So working and studying at the same time. And after your studies, what you would very commonly do is to just start in the company where you did your studies, where you finished your studies, and stay there for a very long time. Right. So this is actually also always super interesting to come back into that field, into that circle where your job actually is kind of defining you from like a very young age, right? So I'm still quite young. I'm still 28. So my friend circle is like the same age, no? And but I said it's super interesting to see that they finished their studies and stayed with the same company, and they are happy with it, right? So me as a super curious soul, right? I left Germany even during my studies already. So me personally, I would not say that I have a job title even. I do many things. And then coming back here, like with that curiosity and then sitting on a table together, it's like, and what about your job? And then they say, well, nothing new,
Mm.
And I'm like, okay. And I said, like, I'm also kind of that person in my friend circle that is like always trying to push people out of their comfort zone, right?
Mm.
And I'm like, yeah. So what about something else? What about another company? Like what about changing your job to another company? Like for just like having new input. Like having a new environment. Because your environment also shapes you, right?
Mm.
So if you stay in the same place for a very long time, then so my personal belief is that I like to change environments regularly, like also just countries once in a while, or environments I've never been to just put myself again and again into situations where I can actually reconnect to my essence. So this is what we just started with, right? To reconnect with the person I am without like all of the things that define me from the outside, right? So yeah, I'm also curious about the people that I love, right? To always just like push them a little bit like and what do you think about this, and or maybe even like a different branch, like, or maybe you want to change from fashion to or like within fashion, to bridal fashion, to just like get something new, like a new experience, no? Because I believe this is also what it's about in life, to collect experiences, right? But yeah, everybody is different in that also. And as I said, especially I feel like here in Germany, it's more like very traditional and also very predictable, I would say.
Mm.
The path you go, next step would be, okay, having a house and a family. Is that very predictable, no? So
If you are enjoying the Core Impact podcast and feel inspired, let's connect on LinkedIn. You can search for my name, Omar El Mamlouk, or click on the link in the description. I would love to hear your thoughts or collaborate on projects around mental health and well-being at workplace, inclusive leadership, inner leadership, and the future of work. Let's co-create impact together. It's very interesting thing that you say predictable, and my feeling in the next years, I mean, let's say in the next 10 years, I'm not gonna say Germany or Germans, but anyone who, because I don't want to go to the stereotyping, but anyone
yes.
who is obsessed with having lots of predictability and knows like everything that's going to happen and plan one by one by one by one, it's gonna be much harder because everything is changing. But from everything that I am also discovering, the change is going to become more and more, especially at the workplace. Do you have any thoughts on this?
Yes, I agree. I totally agree. So, this is also what I am trying, not only in my friend circle, but also, yeah, let's say professionally, to support people in being stable in that world we live in right now, right? Because you mentioned it already, right? It's like actually super not predictable. Right? So we call it the VUCAT world. It's the world with the qualities of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity,
Mm,
diversity, and dynamic.
mm,
So it is a compact set, a super fast changing world, super unpredictable, uncertain. You don't know what's next. So it's not plannable. It's not linear anymore. Like with all the, globalization, right? And like startups are popping up here and there. It's so easy to start a new business. It's so easy to connect to each other, like online. It's so easy to collect knowledge online. You don't have to study for years anymore. This is also actually what I think is like super outdated,
mm,
studying in a traditional university, because as said, things are changing so fast, and then the things you've learned already changed.
mm,
Because also with AI now, you know, like wow, like, and there are so many different also work models, right? You can work from everywhere, and as I said, you can be connected to businesses worldwide so easily. You can make business also basically everywhere. So this is also why I believe it is so important, again, if we want to have like a red thread in this conversation, to come back to your essence, to
mm,
be also stable in your work career, right? Because if you, also in university, right? Like everybody is like shaped to have the same qualities and skills, right? But nowadays, as we live in this VUCAT world where everything is so uncertain, volatile, complex, especially, Also, and as I said, like startups, businesses popping up from everywhere, it is so important to actually like be in tune with your gifts and your skills, not what you were like just planted in from university or from your environment, because you have to be like creative, super innovative to be competitive also in these markets. This is necessary. I truly believe that because we are individuals, right? And like especially like people that came up with super new ideas, actually, like this was not something that was based on what was existing before, right? So you actually have to have the ability to open up, to be creative in your mind, to receive information that are like completely out from nowhere, you know? And then also having actually the courage and the openness and the curiosity to action orientation, to do it actually, and not like thinking it dead. This is also
Mm.
what I like to use the term thinking things dead, because sometimes we have like, oh, nice ideas from somewhere, but then the mind is also somehow trained to stay in the safe line, right? And say, okay, no, that is so unrealistic, don't do that, don't waste your time on that, right? But this is actually a set the gifts that we every one of us have to to receive informations, to dream like crazily, widely, openly, and then to actually also do it, you know?
Mm.
And not only like only driven from the mind, like in a strategic, plannable way, because as said, this world is not linear anymore. It's not
Mm.
plannable anymore. You can't plan your profits 5 or 10 years ahead. This is not possible anymore.
And that's
It's
something I was
simply
trying
not.
now. I was experimenting, as I said, with you. I didn't even plan the questions, and it's very interesting. Just by being present and listening to you, what you said in the last 3 4 minutes, I already have 5 questions.
Yes, this is what we like. And this is also natural, right?
Yeah.
This is so natural. Two human beings having a conversation
Mm. So
and being
Natalie,
inspired from each other.
yeah, Natalie, let's start with how. How can you be connected to your true self?
Wow. That's a tough one. No, so as I already mentioned before, um, so whenever I feel like I need to feel and sense my own essence again, when I feel kind of a little bit unstable, then I really like to put myself into environments that I haven't been before. Like extreme case is like going on a journey and not knowing the place. Like for example, last year I went to the Amazon uh, all by myself. And what I also actually love to do when I go on travels, I never plan anything.
At all.
The only thing I do is to just book my first night, no matter where I go. It started when I was 19 and went to India all by myself with my backpack, and I just booked the first night. And this is actually like, and I mean, I said this is like extreme cases then going on travels. This is not very practical in the daily life, right? So in the daily life, what I would always do, or what I like to cultivate, is to putting myself into still like mini other environments, let's say it like that, and not only like external environments, but also like changing, for example, the environment in my head,
Mm.
because our mind has these patterns, right? And our mind also easily adapts to our environments,
Mm.
right? So, mm, Like, for example, when I'm here back in Germany, my mind tends to fall into that German mindset. We have to be like super on time, it has to be structured and planned and organized. But now trying to experiment. So I like to call it my research projects. And these are, I said, like mini projects. And in these projects, I put myself into new situations. Let's call it like that. And new situations can be, it's the same circle since years, same conversations since years, but me changing the setting in my mind and saying, okay, today I try to not say anything, to just listen, and then just observing. And then, like, what I want to say with that is to always break my own patterns. You know what I mean? Especially when you go into different environments to see or to check in again with myself. Okay, how does this feel for me? Like, do I feel uncomfortable, or does it feel like super nice? I mean, we all have patterns, right? To make our life easier, right? We all have thinking patterns, behavior patterns, feeling patterns also, and as I said, we
Feeling,
all
yes.
have these patterns to navigate ourselves also easier through this VUCAT world, right? We need this orientation and these patterns also, right? Because if we take everything into consideration, we would be completely overwhelmed, right? But always checking in with yourself. Okay, does this pattern still serve me? Is this still me? Or for example, also with opinions, is this still me? Do I really think like that? And then just experimenting, like, for example, sitting in the same on the same table with the same people and same conversations, and then just trying out to how it feels when I suddenly say, yeah, I think I also like to stay in Germany now for my whole life.
Mm.
And then just trying to start this conversation. And then see how it develops, And then like, okay, interesting, And not being stuck in that pattern. No, I don't want to live in Germany. I don't see myself in Germany, but being open and curious to, okay, let's see, just starting a conversation and just also sensing, okay, how does it even feel to talk about it, because also talking about things, like, for me is part of bringing things into reality somehow, and then you can check in, okay, how does this feel for me when I just talk about it, and also like giving different or getting different perspectives again, like from your like usual view, view that you have in general of the world, of yourself, of your work, of whoever you want to be, and always like putting yourself into mini situations where you can explore how do I actually feel when I do things differently.
Mm.
And
And
then
I remember,
adapting.
yeah. I remember you said you don't have any routines, like per se, during the day, but you meditate, for example, every day in different ways, right? How can you make
Yeah.
sure that you stay connected with yourself through different activities that brings you back to being mindful, let's say, without letting yourself to go back to these old patterns? Because if I'd say, for example, maybe people could be different stages, right? But if someone doesn't have any kind of mindfulness practices during the day, if you tell them, oh yeah, just do whatever you like, kind of, and just try to change things, etc., it's very easy to come back to the old patterns, not doing anything, right? So how
Yes.
can you make sure that you are doing things that gives you this mindfulness, although every day is different. So you're not sticking into a routine per se, but still having this activities or even not doing anything, but you know that you have time for yourself to be connected with yourself.
Mm-hmm. So, the breath.
Ah,
Simple.
mm,
The breath is so easy, so accessible at any time. And the great thing about it is that you don't even have to save time to do a practice, right? So reconnecting to your breath is what centers you immediately, because the breath is in the here and now. The breath is so in the moment. And what the breath also does is the breath brings us back into our bodies. And also
mm,
our body is in the here and now. Because the mind tends to be in the future or in the past, thinking about what we have to do tomorrow or when we are at home, blah, blah, blah. And the feelings is the same. Like sometimes maybe we crave something from the past, or we are looking forward to something in the future, we are afraid of something in the future. So the mind and the feelings are mostly actually in the past or in the present or in the future. But our body, our body is here and it's tangible. We can touch it. It's like now here.
mm.
And I said like not only touching, but also breathing, because we breathe anyway. So we're breathing all the time. There's no moment we don't breathe, right? So,
I
and
remember something interesting you said yesterday. If I remember correctly, you said breathing is the only thing in our nervous system that we can control, right?
yes, exactly. And yes, because, for example, so with the breath, we can influence the state of our nervous system, right? So we can actually, or what mostly happens, what usually happens, because, well, I would say most of the society is not aware of their general state of being, which also means is not really aware of their breath, and is not really aware of yeah, of their stress level, let's say it like that, and which is connected to the nervous system, right? Because our nervous system can be like super like in the red zone, like super stressed, or like more in the green zone when we are relaxed, you know. But also here in that society, in this fast-paced society, and it also there was a lot of pressure, right? Like from work, for example, what I observe is people are getting so stressed from work, and not only at work, but also at home. So they actually take the stress from work back home. And this is how people get sick also, right? This is how, because they are constantly stressed. And what does it mean to be stressed? Stress is a state in which the body is actually like in a mode where we either, or where the body thinks it needs to fight or flight or freeze. So it's actually a situation where we feel overwhelmed. We feel overwhelmed. And our body also, when we feel overwhelmed, reacts in a way that like only the most necessary things are done. Because the body thinks, okay, I need to be prepared. I need to be prepared, being constantly in that stress level. And then what happens? The body doesn't have time or capacity to focus on the things that the body usually does when it is relaxed, like for example digesting or sleeping. So many people have sleeping issues and digestion issues. What a surprise. I mean, maybe, I don't think it's a secret also that it is because people are stressed. You know, people can't sleep properly anymore because they are stressed. People can't digest anymore because they are stressed. And now when we come to, okay, but how can I change it? Because I mean, the nervous system is super complex, right? It's a it's a science for its own. But this is also why I love the breath so much. As you said, the breath is the only thing that we have, that we can actively influence actually our nervous system immediately. Because, like, for example, our blood flow or our heart pace is also something that is connected to our nervous system, and that changes. Like, for example, when we are super stressed, right, our heart pumps faster and our blood flow is faster. So and this we can't influence, right? And usually when we are stressed, also our breath gets faster. But this we can influence actively, and this is like, oh my God, what a gift. We have the breath, and as I said, anyway, we use it all the time. So I really encourage people all the time to connect to their breath, to create an awareness for their breath, for their breathing patterns. Like, how do I breathe? Constantly checking in with yourself. Okay, how's my breath? Is it shallow? Is it like super rapid? Or is it actually deeply into the belly? Because what I also always say is, people nowadays, they don't even have time anymore to breathe into the belly. We only use the chest breathing, shallow, rapid chest breathing. And this is how we stress our body too. This is stress for the body. Not having a deep belly breath. And this is also actually connected to digestion, because we do have the diaphragm here that is located under our chest. And if we only use our chest for breathing, the diaphragm is not activated. Like here it is. Here it is like that. And when we are breathing deeply into the belly, like when we breathe deeply into the belly, like the belly expands, no? So the belly expands because the diaphragm expands also. And then when we exhale, the diaphragm contracts again and our belly relaxes again, like goes in again. So actually there's a lot of movement in our bellies when we use our diaphragm to breathe. But as said, what happens is that most of the people only use their chest for breathing. They don't use the diaphragm to breathe deeply into the belly, to have their belly relaxed also. So many people suck their belly in because they think they need to be in shape, and and also just unconsciously, because of stress, the belly is sucked in. And I said it is also connected to digestion, because our diaphragm also has another task, actually, not only like for breathing. It also as it expands and contracts in our belly, it also massages our intestines. And this is how it gets all loose in there, because our intestines actually also need a regular massage, to digest. Right? And when people tell me, oh, I have digestion problems, the first question I ask them is, so do you breathe deeply into the belly? Because this is, as said, also a support system for our body to digest the food, but we can only breathe into the belly when we are relaxed, right? So again, this is related to that nervous system state. When we are not relaxed, we can't digest. We can't sleep. And yeah, this whole this whole breath is, like I said, it's so simple. You inhale and you exhale. There's no big science behind it. But the question is, okay, how do I actually inhale and exhale? And that beautiful gift of awareness, of consciousness, supports us to again, be in the present and to be here now. And for that, you don't need a practice, like a 1 hour practice on the mat or 30-minute practice, still meditation. Because, I mean, we talked about it yesterday also again already. Meditation, like, meditation and yoga, like, are the go-to tools when it comes to training awareness, right? But actually, what you want to train with yoga and meditation is being present in your daily life, right? So if you have your daily practice of meditation and yoga every day, but actually are not able to integrate or train presence in your daily life, this practice is totally useless.
I wouldn't say this.
Well, yeah, maybe it takes some time, no, to
Yeah.
train. Yeah. What are
Uh,
your thoughts on this?
I think there's no one way.
Yes, you're right.
There
I
are
agree.
people, there are people who value freedom. I mean, every person in the world values freedom. But there are people who values freedom so much that they don't like to have routines. It doesn't matter how helpful or healthy are they, right? Like you cannot, I think like nobody can tell Natalie from my my assumption, nobody can tell Natalie, sit here on the couch, for example, and meditate for 2 hours every day, and then you have paradise in the world. You say, no, I'm not gonna do it, right? There are other people who can do it, and I know people also from my friends, they changed their life when they did this, totally in all aspects. And this is what I say. I wouldn't say useless, but I would say
Yeah.
I loved what you said yesterday about experimenting, because each person could have a different kind of practice. And I was curious to see, for example, from your friends or also professionals you worked with before, because you do also as a job before. We talked about it, that you work in, for example, one of the things that you practice is breath work, right? You lead people to be connected to themselves through breath work. And I wanted to ask, when people come to you and they say, okay, how can I practice this every day? Do you have things that you say, do this, for example, 5 minutes every day, this and that, or you have like 3 golden tips or something like this? Or you say, no,
Yes.
really stay experimenting, keep experimenting.
Well, this also, in addition to that, I would always underline everything. I say, you need to experiment,
Mm.
because every everybody and every physical body is so different, so different. And so yeah, but I have 3 golden rules. But at the
Oh,
same time, I said experimenting is the is a have to, I think, because everybody has to find their own way, right? But so number one, what I would suggest or recommend is, when you wake up, first take 3 to 5 deep belly breaths
mm.
to really train to, especially, I mean, when you wake up, you're still in that state of, like, you're half asleep, you're just coming back to the real world after being maybe in the dreamland, like, especially maybe, you catch the point where you're waking up slowly and not even opened your eyes yet, when you're in that swinging state, and then first connecting to the breath, and at the same time what you do is connecting to the body, right? Because what happens many times is you start the day and a thought comes in,
Mm.
and then the mind is activated already, and then you think about, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do. We have to do so many things, right? But really trying to, with 3 or 5 breaths, to just have that moment for yourself first. To really check in with yourself. Okay, how does my body actually feel? Because maybe, I slept unwell or my body hurts, like to check in, okay, what do I need right now? Maybe I need a stretch, like what do I need? Or maybe you can even sense that, okay, how do I feel right now? Like, do I feel like excited for the day, or do I feel more like drained? So, because every day also is so different, right? We're not machines, we're not machines that are having the same day every day. We wake up and we can feel differently every day. Our body can feel differently every day. And I said, with these 3 to 5 breaths, just checking in. What's my state right now? How do I feel? Like, just giving myself these few seconds to set the tone for the day. To be, okay, now I can wake up, now I can start the day. And so number 2 would actually be to trying to cultivate that throughout the day also. Just whenever it comes to your mind, maybe I can check in with my breath right now. Maybe when you are at the cashier at the supermarket, or when you are driving in your car, because mostly we are in thoughts. We are, as said, what do I have to do? Blah, blah, blah. Like, we are somewhere else, but not here.
What do you like to do now?
Again,
What do you like to do now? 30 seconds to 1 minute. Practice like directly now.
Okay, so you can close your eyes and just connect to your breath, to your normal breathing pattern, whatever it is. Just observe your breath with your eyes closed. And maybe with your next inhalation, you can breathe in deeply into the belly, filling up the belly with air. And then exhaling. And then with your next inhalation, again deeply into the belly, filling your belly with air. Feeling how the breath, how air enters your nose and goes down to the belly. And with your next exhalation, you can open your mouth and let the air out, your breath out. Maybe you want to take one more inhalation through the nose into the belly, filling it up. And with the exhalation, maybe with a sigh out. When you feel ready, you can slowly open your eyes again. Coming back into the space.
Yeah,
Just
it's so simple,
breathe.
right? Yeah.
It's so simple. It's just a few seconds and it centers you immediately. It like brings you down immediately. Just observing the breath, like, love it.
So the first golden tip is breathe like this in the morning, and
Yes.
then do it whenever you remember throughout the day.
Yes.
And the third one?
And the third one is actually a little bit advanced, I would say. It is taking your inner team members into account also.
Can you please
Because
explain in simple words for someone who's listening for the first time who are the team
yes,
members? What do you mean?
yes. So imagine you consist of a team of four, which is the mind, the heart, the body, and the consciousness. And all of them have different voices. All of them speak different languages. For example, the mind speaks in thoughts, the heart speaks in feelings, the body speaks in body sensations, and the consciousness is very different for everybody, but mostly it's like a very soft, clear voice. And all of them also have different needs. And all of them also have different strengths and weaknesses. And all of them coexist within us at the same time, all the time. And yeah, so checking in with all of these members, because most of the time our mind dominates, because the mind wants to plan, has like everything strategic, in line, and like security, right? Likes to analyze things, also likes to comment things, like we're thinking all the time. We're thinking and thinking, and the mind is always talking. But what about the other team members? And this is, I said the third golden rule. I would, give other people, to their hands to really check in. Okay, hey, what is my mind talking right now? Can I catch a thought? Also, my heart, what does it say?
You
How
write
do
them
I
down?
feel? No, I don't write them down, not anymore. But I mean, of course, there are days like that and that, that I don't have a routine. No, I don't have a strict routine. But there are times I write it down. But now, like, it's like so integrated into my day-to-day life, right? I do this actually like regularly during the day. It's like I listen to my to these voices inside of me all the time. And I mean, this makes life also very colorful and very exciting, because as said, you have a team of four inside of you, and they all have different strengths, weaknesses, and needs, and trying to covering or taking everything into consideration is, exciting, super exciting. Can be also super challenging, of course, but I love challenges. I love to, find solutions and see, okay, let's see how we can do it together. Because I also love to work in teams. And I have my team with myself everywhere I go all the time. And all of them have different ideas, have different characters. So this is, as said, this is the third golden, more advanced rule, I would say, to really check in with your members, listen to them, see what they have to share with you, because they carry a lot of wisdom, especially about ourselves, about our essence.
Many professionals feel disconnected, unheard, or burned out. My mission is to help them overcome this by raising awareness, connecting with experts, and sharing practical tools in mental health and well-being, inner leadership, and inclusive leadership, while preparing for the changes ahead in the future of work. By the end of this episode, I would love to know, what thought, feeling, or action would you take with you? I don't know which one to pick, because there are so many things that I'm curious to know more about. Let's say one thing that since we started contacting each other, And since we got to know each other, every time I see you, I feel this energy of joy, you know, joy,
Hmm.
and yeah, someone who's, I feel like always happy, and I'm curious, first of all, don't you have days when you come back to this survival mode, you feel doubtful, fearful, anxious, etc.? And if that happens, how long it takes for you to come back to this state?
So yeah, of course I do have that too. Actually, I'm very emotional. So, and I would say it's phases. All
Mm,
in life is phases. Also with the mood, no. Mm, and listening to my feelings is one thing, right? But expressing them also is another thing.
mm,
So throughout the years, I learned actually, and this is also, I think, the most important thing for myself that I learned is to not having to deal with it by myself
mm,
and not having to hide in the dark room when I don't when I'm not that joyful and not so smiley, because I'm known for that also within my friends, in my family. I'm always like the happy girl. But I said everybody has that, right? Everybody also has days and phases that we feel low, where we feel sad, where we feel angry also. Like these so-called negative feelings, right? But they also carry so much, yeah, I said wisdom, right? And it's so important to give room to that also, because yeah, I mean, you can suppress this also, but I truly believe that it manifests one or the other way. So maybe some people fall into depression, some people maybe get even like bodily sick, they get also, I believe that these heavy feelings manifest in sicknesses like, yeah, burnout or even cancer, things like that. You store all of this in the body. And but knowing that all of us, we have that, and it's part of us, this is what really changed how I deal with it. Like I remember a time, this was like 3 years ago, and I was so sad. I was so sad and I was crying so much. And of course, I was always hiding, right? Because what's very common is, people ask, oh, why do you cry? Don't cry, you don't need to cry. But I made a beautiful experience. Like this was in an environment where people are like, I would say also more open. And I had the courage to go out of my room. Like there was an event, like a dance festival. And I decided, no, I don't have to hide. I want to dance this out now. And then I went out, and of course there was one part of me that was like, my God, now people will ask, what's up? Why do you cry? Don't cry. But I was like, no, I embody it fully now. I'm sad and I'm sad, and that's okay. I don't have to hide. And then I went out, and like what I received was so loving, was so caring. Nobody asked, why do you cry? Don't cry. People just hugged me and said, it's okay. And I was like, oh my God, I can just be with that also, and I don't have to hide, because I said everybody has that. Where in this world is it normal that nobody of us like feels sad or angry or anxious? Where in this world is it like that? It's like it doesn't exist. So it's just how you, yeah, I mean, just how you deal with it, right? But what changed for me is how I like show myself to the outside, like even when I feel like that, being
I'm curious to know
authentic
this
about it.
this story. The story. So you said you felt like this, and then you wanted to be. You were alone, and then you went out in this event, and maybe Tell me like the whole story. How did it happen? And what happened after? Like, did you
Yeah.
dance after?
Yes. So it was actually an ecstatic dance. So an ecstatic dance is like a kind of dance festival where music is played, and it's mostly during the day, and there is no alcohol allowed, no drugs. It's all just in your normal state, right? So you just, and it's called ecstatic because you really dance yourself into ecstasy, right? You just dance, you listen to the music and you just dance without drugs, without alcohol, without anything. You just dance. And this is also how you release, right? And there's also no special like movements, or like nobody judges anybody. You just, everybody dances also for themselves, right? So many people also have their eyes closed, they're just dancing for themselves, just feeling the body. Okay, how does my body want to move right now, and it doesn't have to be even with the music, you can also just like start to shake, or when you're tired or exhausted, you can also just sit down, so you can really, that's really a nice space to yeah, to sense, to explore the body also, to feel, okay, how does my body want to move, without like having my traditional dance moves that I always have like in the club, like with the music I already know, like these studied dance moves we know already. No, but listening, okay. And then, also sometimes the mind switches on and it's like, oh my God, this looks so stupid. Why do you
Yeah.
do this? This is not dancing, and then you're just like moving, but just trying to switch the mind off and just letting the body speak. Yeah. And then, oh yeah, oh my God, I was like crying and crying, and I was shaking everything off, and I was shaking and shaking, And then, yeah, at one point I just danced, and of course, when it is released, then you feel it. Okay. And then suddenly I started laughing, and I was like, oh my God, I felt so much of gratitude. Also, because I could feel it, because I have the capacity to feel also these so-called bad feelings. Wow, this is something you can't describe. No, you have, as a human being, we have this gift to feel, you know, and but if you suppress these feelings that nobody wants to feel, like sadness, anger, anxiety, what happens is that we also drain the so-called positive feelings, right? So we just, because for the body in the end it's just feeling, right? It's a biochemical process. It's like a rush of chemicals rushing through our body, but if we try to like push it always down, we also push our like positive feelings down, but what happens, many people can't even feel joy so much anymore, like deep joy, deep excitement, like having the full range of emotions. And this is also the gift of allowing the so-called negative feelings to be there, to also being able to feel these more exciting or more, or let's say, let's call them better marketed feelings, to also feel that deeper. And this is probably why I also am like so much because
Mm.
I feel so much. And also, I said, like, when I feel sad, I feel so sad. Oh my God, I feel so sad. And
Mm.
of course, then also my mind kicks in and it's like, oh my God, I am a nobody and I can do anything. And oh, what is this life? Of course, that's part of it. That's part of it. But it's also a decision, no? Like which side you cultivate, right? I decide to live on the sunny and funny side of life. So yeah, but for that, as I said, it's also It's also a gift, no? And it's all perspectives and beliefs also, no? Like, do you see a gift in these dark feelings, or is it something that is so dark and dangerous?
While you are listening to the Core Impact podcast, please take a moment to pause and share with me. How do you feel? Are you enjoying the conversation, feeling inspired, or something else? I would love to know your feelings in the comments.
Yeah.
How you perceive it.
It's a gift, a set that carries so much wisdom, especially for your own path, and your own essence.
Natalie, you told me, since you are talking about feelings now, you told me before that you don't take any decision based on fear.
Yes.
The question is, imagine someone is listening to you. It could be anything. They want to quit their job that they hate. They don't feel connected to it. They want to do something new. They want to travel to another country. How can you convince your mind that if you follow your excitement and you just do things that brings you joy, that you will still be, you still have some kind of control or security, or, how do I live? Let's say someone who doesn't have enough in their, like much in their bank account, but they want to quit their job, or they want to do something totally different in their life, and they really feel connection to something else. And in order for them to make this leap of faith, then everything could go against them. They also, the mind wants to make sure that you are living in a, you have everything you need, let's say. You can survive.
Yeah. So I've been in all of that too already, right? So I'm not born like like that. So what made me do things that I was so afraid of again and again, and still, of course, I'm so afraid of doing things. No, that's also part of it. But doing the things, actually, what always makes me do it is, there's that image of a cliff, and you're standing on that cliff, and you don't see what's down that cliff because it's like foggy, you can't see it. And what you can do is you can study that cliff your whole life, because you want to jump from the cliff, right? Because that's the way. Or you can study that cliff your whole life, and you can stay there your whole life and study it, and maybe you can interview different people. Oh, how was it jumping from that cliff? Okay. Collecting information, right? Because the mind wants security, right? Wants to collect information. Oh, is it safe? But in the end, you have to jump. And to be honest, it doesn't matter if you jump now or in 10 years. It's the same cliff. And this is what gets me every time. Okay, do I jump now or do I want to study it more? And sometimes it's, of course, it's totally valid, for the mind to collect information, but if you know you have to jump, and we feel that if this is the only way, because if you're on that cliff, I said there are two options, actually three, either staying at the same point, second, going back, or third, jumping. And if you want to proceed, if you want to go ahead, you have to jump. And then again and again, I ask myself that question: do I really want to stay here? Is this my life? Or do I need to jump now to go to the next step? And this is how I always decide to jump again. And this is also how you actually learn, because it doesn't help if you interview 1,000 people about that cliff. You have to do your own experience, because everybody perceives it also differently. Everybody experiences it differently also, So you have to make your own experience. And if this is what you truly feel, and this is also actually where trust starts, knowing that you can jump and you can manage it, no matter what. No matter what. And what I always do to support myself is I always tell myself I have 2 hands, I have a head, I have a brain, I have 2 ears, I have 2 legs, and I know I can always survive. No matter what I do, no matter where I go. I will always find a job, even if it's like cleaning dishes, whatever. I don't care. I can always find a job to have food, but this would like to be the worst case scenario. I also have a family, I also have friends I can always go back to. So, and I believe in my capacities, I believe in my skills. I know that I can always find ways to make a living, and if not that, I said I also was in that situation once, like my cousin, he had like a very bad accident actually in Venezuela. And so they needed a lot of money for the operation, for the surgery. And I had savings because I wanted to go to Sri Lanka, travel. And then I was like, oh my God, what do I do now? There's this life of my cousin. And then there's my security for the next month. My flight is booked already. I'm leaving in a few days. Like, what the fuck do I do now? And I'm like, okay, surrender. I know for me the right decision is to send the money. And I know that I will find ways to survive also in another country. And to be honest, yes, this was the second time I went back to Sri Lanka. And I also knew people already. And they, I could live with them. I had food and no problem, money came in again, so it's always somehow good. And what you need to do is you need to collect these proofs to learn to trust yourself. Because the mind always comes with the worst case scenario. But what's the best case scenario? And then, as said, also trusting in your abilities, in your skills. And not only that, but also trusting life is a big part in that, Because there are some people that say, this life is always against me, no matter what I do, being in that victim mode. And then there are people that know, okay, I know everything that this life puts on my plate is a gift because I can learn and grow from it. I can grow from it, and this actually adds to my skill set. I can apply it to so many other things in the future. Everything I learn, every challenge I go through, no matter how tough it is a gift because it adds to my growth. It actually adds to bring out the best version of myself, the biggest potential, because there's no wrong and right decision. If your inner voice tells you clearly this is the way, then this is the way. No matter what challenge is in the way, you are able to master that challenge. And actually, you have to go through it to find joy, because if you don't jump from that cliff, you will spend your whole life thinking, and maybe at the end regretting, I didn't jump from that cliff. That's for me, I think, the worst case scenario for my life. Yeah.
What's the best case scenario? This is the question that I think it's not easy to make it a habit, because our mind, as you say, has the other question usually. What's the worst case scenario, right?
Yes, but it's also a matter of training, to be honest. Because we can also reprogram our mind, right? So we always feed our mind with the worst case scenario. Then yes, this has the power, no? But there are also so many things we can do to train the best case scenario. Like, and really, like, really visualize it. We can write it down. We can make vision boards, mood boards, we can actually then also like collecting proof, because from the experience, it's the funny thing, no? Because from the past, we collected already many proofs that we are able to do things, that actually we are in the best case scenario, that everything already worked in our favor, right? But the mind, as said, is trained to focus on that worst case scenario. So even though there's proof that we actually already many times went for the best case scenario, And then, as said, collecting that, knowing how to, yeah, like be friends with your mind. Because as said, there is enough proof. And also you can write it down, mood boards, vision boards. There are many, many things you can do to actually retrain your mind from that worst case scenario to the best case scenario. And it's training, of course. And at the same time, it's everything, I always say, is a matter of will. How much do you really want it? Because everybody wants a nice life. Everybody wants the best life. Everybody, of course. But are you really willing to go the steps? Are you really willing to do the work? Because it starts here. Are you really willing to change your patterns? And not from the outside, but first here. Changing your patterns here. That's the biggest challenge. And this is where actually most of the people fail. Because they are not willing to put the effort and work, and also curiosity, openness, and courage also to really face themselves, Yeah. But the cliff, I said it, the cliff gets me all the time. I don't want to waste my life, like really. Like, this life is too beautiful for me to gift it. And for me, this life is just like it's just a collection of experiences. What else is it for? Like, what else is it for if not to enjoy? Huh? My mama always says, my mama always says, our last clothes don't have pockets. Like, we can't take anything to the grave. We can't take anything. No matter how much money you have, no matter how big your house is, how big your car is, you can't take it anyway. The only thing you take is your essence.
You reminded me of Sadhguru. He said, there's no real lost in life, because you came to life with nothing and you're gonna leave it with nothing. So everything you're having here is only experience. So you're always winning.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Life is the
Natalie,
biggest playground.
yeah. Natalie, do you think there's anything that you would like to talk about we haven't mentioned yet? Talking about mental health at workplace, talking about inclusive leadership, inner leadership, the future of work.
Well, I would say, as an essence, first learn how to lead your inner team to change the world. And actually, I think your workplace is actually one of the biggest impacts you can have to change the world, because I mean, I don't want to say that the markets are the problems from today's problems, right? But I said, like, the markets, the businesses, the big businesses, like, yeah, now we know it doesn't work like that, people burn out, people get sick, the earth gets sick. So we somehow have to find a way to re-navigate this whole thing. And for this, we need leaders that are connected to their essences, that sense what is, I don't want to say also right or wrong, right? But as a community on this planet Earth, as human beings, right? To have like a sustainable way to live together in harmony, you know? Because now we are exploiting people, you know? We are like killing animals from plastic, and you know, we're killing the oceans, we're killing the forests, you know, we're killing ourselves basically, you know? And well, I don't think that this is the most sustainable way for humanity to extinct ourselves by our actions. You know what I mean? Because this world is, this planet Earth, you know, is so beautiful. You know, it's such a gift. You know, oh my God, we have fruits, we have vegetables, we have waterfalls, we have rainbows, we have stars. You know, and to protect it. You know. And as said, for that, I really believe in rethinking, and not only rethinking, but also redoing business, like on a global scale. And for that, actually, being in that VUCAT world, it is also, I would say, like one of the top qualities, top skills, being an integrated leader that is also able to envision a future that is actually thriving, and not a future that is actually based on past references. Because, as said, this is not a way to go. This is very clear already.
How do you envision a future that's thriving at workplaces?
So, thriving at workplaces is, for me, a place where each individual actually has the space to bring their gifts to the table, to have open conversations, to be able to share ideas together, to co-create also, you know, and not everything top down. This is sorry, so outdated, no? Like, especially young people, the young generation, you know, like, I mean, in today's business world, you say like, okay, no, you have to like gather so and so much experience to be a senior and to be in the top management, you know, and then like taking the super important decisions, you know. But I said, like, to be honest, like, what do these people know about today's world? You know, like, the world is changing so fastly, and young people actually have so much potential, you know, to actually, yeah, change things, and also actually carry not only the wisdom, but also the knowledge, you know, how things actually work, and how to, yeah, live in a world like this, and also how to, yeah, what can we do, you know, to change things also, because they are at the source, actually, you know what I mean? So they are actually on, okay, like, what's on and not out already. You know. And yeah, I said collaborations. I really believe in co-creation, collaborations. I really believe in shared knowledge, you know. I don't believe in this, like, oh my God, this is ours, and we have to keep everything secret, you know. I believe in co-creation also in between businesses, you know, and not, oh, this is our profit, you know, we have to protect it, and that scarcity mindset, you know, because I believe that there is enough for everybody, and if we learn to really share knowledge, share experiences, you know, and also share risks, maybe, you know, to really like go on a level that we can't even imagine. Like in the sense of thriving, in the sense of richness, whatever richness means. Riches is not only money, right? But also,
Beautiful, Natalie. I'm really,
yeah, I
I'm really
believe in a
happy.
world that
Yeah,
is together.
Mm. Is there, do you have any final thoughts you'd like to share?
I just really wish and encourage everybody to be curious enough and courageous enough to explore their inner voices, because it's not only a gift for themselves but also for the whole world, actually. So it's not only the work that you do for yourself but also the work that you do for everybody else, not only for your friends, for your family, for the company you work in, for the business you started, for the planet. So it's actually also a responsibility that everybody of us really takes the courage and the curiosity to really find who we are, right? Because we all have gifts to bring into this world. Maybe we are all Albert Einsteins,
In
if we
our own,
don't
own
follow
unique
the
ways, yeah.
normal rules,
Yeah, yeah.
you know,
I
imagine a
believe in
world like
this.
that.
I believe in that totally, In the beginning, it was like more kind of, yeah, positive thinking. But the more I understand it, and also like with connecting with so many experts also in different fields, I see that actually nobody, when coming back to this inner team, it's all in you. Anyone from outside, they only help you to discover what's in the inside, because you have everything you need inside of you. And I think if you take it like purely, I don't want to compare, but you just take it as an example. You say Albert Einstein, Mahatma Gandhi, or anyone who really changed the world in a way. Each one of us can be like that if we just really connect to ourselves.
Yes, I truly believe that. I truly believe that everybody has a mission on this world. However, this mission looks like. Some people maybe have it as their vision, to have the most beautiful gardens all over the world. That's also a beautiful vision. But knowing about your mission, knowing about it, and it can be in a smaller circle, but also on a big scale. But knowing, okay, what's my part to contribute, and not only like functioning and like sacrificing my life for I don't know what. Finding a why, no?
It was an experiment with you. First time, like really having a podcast.
We love
Yes, we're gonna
experiments.
talk. Yes, but I was inspired, of course, by
Yeah.
you. Our talk yesterday, because yeah, we focus a lot on experimenting. I said, okay, let's experiment. So I hope that also you enjoyed it. Yes, and
Yeah, I hope so too. I also want to thank you for inviting me to your podcast. I also really feel honored to share my thoughts, no, and my perspective. Yeah, and I really hope that with all of that we carry inspiration into the world, right?
thank you
Yeah.
very much, Natalie. Do you feel inspired by this conversation? If that's the case, please share that with me, write me a comment, and share it with a friend that you know will benefit from this podcast. Core Impact Podcast is on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and all other major platforms.